Hey, what's up, friends? It's James. Thanks for joining me for another power yoga class. So, for this 60-minute class, we're going to take things slow and get in really deep with your strength, flexibility, balance, and then tie everything into your breath and have that mind body connection. I want to start us out at standing. So, bring your feet on parallel with one another, or if you want, have your big toes together with a little bit of space back between your heels. We'll do a couple of shoulder rolls. So on an inhale, just lift your shoulder heads high up towards your ears. And as you exhale, roll your shoulders down away from the ears and the back. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift shoulder heads high, lengthen up. Exhale, roll down and away. Now just feel that posture at standing. Your feet spread out into the ground. Knees have a little bit of softness so they're not locked. Arms just relaxed at your sides. And then that length all the way up to the back of your neck. And we've got the shoulders rolled out so the chest feels nice and open here. We'll deepen the breath with a 3-part breath exercise. Join me by releasing your air all the way down to empty. And then breathe into your low belly and your low back. Hold there. Breathe up to your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Hold there. Fill all the way to your chest, all the way to your shoulders. Hold that full breath, relax, and then exhale slowly for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that again. Breathe in low belly, low back. Hold there. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Pause. Breathe all the way to your chest, all the way to your shoulders. Once you've got that full breath, just hold and relax. Maybe sip in a little more air, top it up. And then that slow exhale, just taking it all the way down to empty. Now, once you get to the bottom of this breath, I want to start up Ujjayi Pranayama. This is victorious breathing. Slow, deep inhales in through your nose from the bottom to the top like you're sipping the air in through a straw, engaging the muscles in the back of the throat. And then slow, long exhales out the nose like you're fogging up a mirror, releasing slowly from the top all the way down to the bottom. And as you're using the muscles in the back of your throat to take that inhale and then take that exhale, you're going to start to hear the sound of ocean waves or the sound of hollow winds. This Ujjayi breathing, this is the one that we'll use for the entirety of the practice. So I want you to let this breath be your connection into what's happening right here and now with your body. That's bringing the experience of your mind into what it is to be inside of the body. So let your breath be your guide, and then just take what works for me and leave the rest behind. Awesome. Blink the eyes open to a soft gaze. On an inhale, stretch and reach up nice and tall. Breathe into Tadasana Mountain. And on the exhale, just hinge out from your hips and control a swan dive all the way down to your forward fold. Flat back halfway and then fold it in. Inhale halfway up, so bring the hands to your shins, bend your knees a little bit, lengthen the spine. Let your shoulder blades tone in, gaze is down. And on that exhale, refold. Awesome, friends. Take a ragdoll frame, so opposite hand grabbing the outside opposite elbow or bicep. Feet are open at hip bone distance if they're not there. And then you want to let the weight of your torso gently sway side to side or lightly rock back and forth. Weight of the head is relaxed. You could always give a little side to side nod. No through your chin, or a back and forth nod. Yes through your chin. Use that breathing, and when your exhales come, you will feel your body just release a little bit deeper into this forward fold. Make sure you're not locking your knees. You've got some softness in them. You want your spine to fold deep here. You want your elbows to get, somewhere around mid-shin height. Nice. Take that last round of breath. And then just release the weight of your arms. And with the arms heavy and the head heavy, take a slow vertebrae by vertebrae roll up to standing. Your head will be the very last thing to stack up. And when your head does stack up, Inhale to extend your arms wide and tall. And then on the exhale, just bring your hands back down into your heart center at standing. Inhale, reach and extend the arms up. Breathe in. Interlace your pointer fingers into a steeple. And then on your exhale, start to arch to the right as your hips shift to the left. And you want to feel a huge stretch from your left foot all the way through your hip, all the way out through your side body. And then we're strengthening through that inner right side body to lift and help extend those fingertips out. Pull the biceps back to frame your ears. Let the shoulder head stay down away from the ears and the back, and then extend out through those fingertips. You might take little movements, twisting, the hips a little forward or a little bit backwards. Just changing up the angle of the stretch slightly. Nice breathing. Get down to the end of the breath that you're on, and then inhale to reach up nice and tall in space. And on the exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center. Okay, take the left foot into the center of your mat, and then cross the right foot to the outside of the left. Once you've got the legs set up, inhale, reach your arms up nice and tall. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and control your swan dive down to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, you can just press into your front shin. Strengthen through the shoulders, gazes down. Exhale to refold. And then with the fingertips to the ground, start to walk the fingertips over to the right. And if you're practicing with a block, you're welcome to bring the hands up onto the block on level 1, 2, or 3. As your left hand stretches down over to the right, you're getting a nice stretch through the left side body all the way to your hip. Weight of the head should relax. Give any nod yes or nod no you want. And then you're pressing down into that left foot, and you want to feel the stretch of your left hip reaching back and up to the left. Inhales create space in the body, and on the exhales, we release ourselves into that space that we create. Excellent, friends. You can start to walk your hands back to center, uncross your legs to a regular forward fold. And then I want you to press into your right foot, into your fingertips, your fists, or your palms, and start to reach that left leg back and up in space. So often you'll hear this pose called standing splits, but I want you to start to think about this pose as a one-legged forward fold, where we're just pressing to the right foot, we're pressing into our hands, we're releasing the weight of our head down, gaze is behind us, and then we're reaching in and extending that left leg back up nice and tall in space, stretching and breathing. And you can press so much into your fingertips, fists, or palms that it feels like you're going to take the weight of your body up into a handstand. Stay with it. You're doing great. And then nice and slow on your exhale, you'll release the ball of the left foot to the back of your mat. So we're in a low lunge position, and you might land exactly where you want to be, or take the time to kind of readjust that low lunge, both hands framing your right foot, ball of the left foot to the ground back behind you. Spin the knife edge of your left foot down to the ground. Your heels are in one line from the front of the mat to your back. And then for Warrior 2, we're reaching the left arm backwards in space and expanding the right arm forward. Rather than leaning your torso forward with your right arm, you want to feel that your spine is straight up in space. You've got it stacked right above your hips. Gaze out across your front fingertips. If your shoulder heads are caving in, just take a little roll, release them out. And then with your legs, you want to feel a strong press into both of your legs, down to the ground. And as you press down and out, it's opening through your hips. At the same time, tone your thighs back into center line. More specifically, as you lunge into your front right leg, you need to strengthen around your right knee as the weight of your body is going into it. So press down strong into the foot, And then you'll engage your upper leg to wrap around your knee, and then engage your right glute to draw up and back away from it so you've got nice support for it. You got a relaxed gaze just out over those fingertips, and we're just staying with the breathing. Couple more rounds of breath here. Excellent, friends. When you're ready from here, extended side angle pose. So bring your right forearm to press down to your right thigh. Your left arm can go straight up in space, or you can extend it out on a diagonal from your back left leg. You should feel a nice stretch, especially right around the where the left low back meets your left hip. You want to check that your back left hip is not popping up in space. We want to bring that left hip on level with the front right hip. And then you want to feel like you're lifting away from your right thigh with that inner right side body. Awesome. Find your breathing. Just focusing on the inhales, focusing on the exhales, finding that mindfulness piece. Use an inhale to rise back up to your warrior two. And for triangle, straighten out your right leg. If you're using a block on level 1, 2, or 3, you can bring the block to the outside of your right ankle. With the right leg lengthened, open the arms up like warrior two. Breathe in. When your exhale comes, reach as far forward as you can and then tilt down. Either bringing your hand onto the block outside of your ankle, or your hand to your shin, or fingertips, fist, palm to the ground. With triangle, you are keeping the length in the right leg. So as you press to your right foot, you're drawing your hips back and up in space. And then opening the wingspan with your arms all the way from the ground to the sky. Feel a little tone of your shoulder blades back behind you in space. Your spine is a crossbar, so it's reaching from your hips all the way forward through the crown of your head. Your gaze is out to the left or even twisting slightly up in space where that left hand is reaching and where it is extending. Awesome breathing, friends. Follow your inhales, follow your exhales. Get down to the end of your breath. You'll use your inhale to rise back up into warrior two. And then turn your right palm to the sky, bring your left hand to your hip thigh or behind you, and reverse your warrior. Right arm goes straight up in space as you're in your lunge. You could bend your elbow if you want, drop your hand back a little bit, and your head might tilt back a little bit, bringing the gaze up. You don't need to lean your whole spine back in space. There's pretty much a straight up aspect going through your spine and going through the arm, and then your shoulders and your head might tilt a little bit back. If you came up out of your lunge, gently press back into it. One more inhale here. And then when your exhale comes, bring your right hand down to your right thigh. Take your left hand over your right. Turn onto the ball of the left foot. And then find this type of high crescent lunge with your hands to your thigh and your spine reaching out on a diagonal from your back leg. This is a staged flying lunge. And to make it a full flying lunge, once you feel like your legs are set up, just extend your arms back in space. So you're shooting out of your back fingertips. You're shooting out the back through your fingertips. You can let the elbows pull slightly in towards one another. That will tone your shoulder blades in, opening through the chest. Elbows could bend slightly up and back in space. And then length all the way through the back of the neck here. Thighs are slightly toning towards center line, nice and strong in that front leg. And using that breathing. And using that breath to stay present inside of this shape. On an inhale, Utkatasana chair pose, so left foot steps up to meet your right. You drop back into a deep squat. If you're bringing your big toes together, I want you to bring your ankle bone, knees, and thighs together, or what I'm doing is keeping everything at about hip bone distance. As you drop back, you're pulling your arms back to frame the biceps, shoulder heads are down away from the ears, and then you're sitting back in space, strengthening through both of your legs. You can always open your arms up a little bit wider if you're having trouble pulling your arms back, so you might even end up at more of a goalpost position. And then take the weight to your right leg. Inhale your arms and your left knee up to a one-legged mountain. So you're extended from your right foot all the way out through your fingertips. And then you've got that left knee bent at 90, and you're letting your left thigh bone plug back in towards your hips. Focus your gaze out in front of you on an object that's not moving. Use the breath. For some folks, feeling that big right toe gripping to the ground or feeling spread out into that right foot can really help keep the stability here. Beautiful breathing. And then from here, we're going to move into airplane Dakasana. So just swim your left leg back, swim your arms back. Find that lift up through your chest. And arms are similar how they were in our flying lunge. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a different shape going on, but shooting out through the fingertips. Maybe bending the elbows slightly up and lifting back. You could point your left toes back, or you could add some flexion to your foot, pushing back through your heel, toes down towards the ground. And that chest has a little bit of a lift up, like a low cobra shape. Beautiful, friends. Breathe in, and on your exhale, low lunge. So both hands frame your right foot, ball of the left foot to the ground back behind us. From here, we're going to step back into our plank. Shoulders are right above your hands. If the elbows are locked, add a little bit of tone into them. Let the biceps come in towards center line. And then on an inhale, breathe at the top. And as you exhale, shift forward, and then slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Make sure your hips can comfortably press down to the ground. And then we're going to move in to our locust pose. So lifting the legs up off the ground, start to lift your chest up off the ground. You're pointing your toes back behind you. And then similar to what we've been doing with our arms, in that flying lunge or an airplane, shoot back through your fingertips. Shoulder blades gently tone in. You could bend the elbows slightly up and back. And then rather than lifting your chin to look forward, you're looking at the top of your eyes, and it's more that you're lifting your chest. So lifting up through the back of the neck. Stay with that breathing. Nice job. Last couple rounds of breath. On your exhale, lower down. And then for down dog, you can press up to a tabletop or just press up to the top of your plank. and then shift your hips back and up in space. First down dog of our session today, friends, so take the time just to walk out through it. You can drop the weight to one heel while you bend through opposite knee. Hips are lifting back up away from your hands, spread out into the circle of your palms, spread out into your fingers. And then relax the weight of your head to look behind you. Tone your biceps in towards center line. Lift the hips up nice and tall. And start to lengthen your heels back down towards the ground behind you. Use that breath. Take an inhale in. On your exhale, bend your knees, look between the hands. Step up to the forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale halfway up, press the shins. Exhale, refold. And then slow vertebrae by vertebrae, wind up to standing. Head is the last thing to come up. When the head comes up, inhale your arms nice and tall in space. And on the exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center at standing. Awesome. Inhale to stretch and reach your arms wide and tall. Breathe in, Tadasana Mountain. With the exhale, hinge out from your hips. Swan dive, slow and controlled to your forward fold, Uttanasana. From here, you can take the peace sign fingers around your big toes with the feet at hip bone distance. Knuckles are to the ground, palms face one another. Or for gorilla pose, step your hands underneath your feet so that the palms are completely underneath the feet, back of the hands are to the ground, and your toes touch your wrists. And then we're using the connection of the peace sign fingers to your big toes, or of the toes pressing into the back of into the palm of your hand as a bind. And a bind allows us to gently push and pull. Friends, a third option I'm going to throw in, if one of those toe foot binds isn't working for you, is to take the belly of your forearms and place it back behind your calves with your fingers going down the back of your ankles. You want to feel that you're letting this bind help you to build length in the back of your legs, and then build length down through your spine. Weight of the head is relaxed. Gaze is back behind you. You're on about 2 or 3 more rounds of breath here. And when those exhales come in, that's when your body's going to open up a little bit deeper. All right, last round of breath. You got it. Get all the way down to empty. And then release the hands away from the feet, or from the back of the legs, or from the toes. Inhale halfway up, lengthen your spine. Exhale, refold. And then we'll reverse swan dive, inhaling arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, bringing the hands down into your heart center. Inhale to reach back up to Tadasana Mountain. Interlace your pointer fingers into a steeple. And then on your exhale, now we're going to arch over to the left as the hips shift over to the right. Pressing down into your feet, feeling those hips pulling to the side, making that stretch along the outside of the right leg. And then pointer fingers reaching and extending the arms out tall, keeping those arms plugged into the shoulder sockets, and then pulling the biceps back to frame the ears. And again, you might take little twists forward or backwards through the hips just to change up slightly how you're feeling that stretch. Either way, stay with your breathing. Get down to the end of your breath. Use the inhale to reach back up. And on the exhale, circle your hands into your heart center. This time, bring the right foot into the center of your mat, and then cross the left foot to the outside of the right. Once your legs are set up, use that inhale to reach your arms up tall. And on the exhale, hinge out from the hips and take your swan dive down into your forward fold. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, refold. And then we're walking the hands over to the left this time. And in particular, the right hand getting over to the side. Weight of your head just release down. Hips are pulling up to the right as you press down into that right foot. Weight of the head totally relaxed. And just working with those inhales, working with those exhales. Keep engaging that stretch up along the outside of your right leg and then down from your right arm to the ground. Nice, last couple rounds of breath here. And then you're going to start to walk the hands out of this twist back to the center of your mat. You're pressing into your left foot and you're reaching that right leg back up nice and tall in space. Gaze is just back behind you. Stay with your breathing. And inside of this pose, again, this has the name standing splits. What we're working with today is just a one-legged standing forward fold. Rooting into that left leg and drawing your right leg back up nice and tall. Weight of your head is relaxed, gaze is behind you, and then you're pressing into your fingertips, fists, or palms as if you were going to lift your body up into a handstand. Crown of the head is just pointed down to the ground, gaze is back behind you. It's a combination of lifting that back right leg up in space and also pressing down into the ground to push it up. One more inhale right here, and on the exhale, we're going to release the right foot back behind us. We got a low lunge going. Both hands are framing your left foot, ball the right foot to the ground back behind us. Drop the knife edge of your right foot to the ground, and then warrior two on your rise. Right arm reaching back, left arm extending forward in space. Gazes out across those left fingertips. If you need to do any lengthening of your stance, we can go ahead and handle that as you need to. You want to feel your heels are in one line from the front of the mat to the back. And then just take that big opening through your arms. Left arm reaching forward, right arm drawing back in space. As you feel the spine straight up, take that roll out through your shoulders. Feel the engagement through your legs, so the press down strong through both of your legs, and then your thighs are toning back in towards our center line position. And just working with those inhales, working with those exhales. Take one more inhale here, and on your exhale, find your extended side angle pose. So left forearm to your left thigh, press into it, and then just reach and extend that right arm up tall in space. You could also have your right arm extending on a diagonal from your back right leg as well. And as you're pressing into that left thigh, feeling your left side body lifting away from it. And one of the things I've been having students do in some classes is just hovering the in extended side angle pose, the arm that's to the thigh, just lifting it away from a second, but keeping the shape of the pose. Just knowing that we're not leaning or collapsing into that arm. Awesome. On your inhale, rise back up to your warrior two. And for triangle, straighten out your front left leg. If you're using a block, just put it to the outside of your ankle on level 1, 2, or 3. And with your arms opened up, breathe in. And on your exhale, hinge forward and come down. You can bring your hand to your block or your left hand to the ground or your hand to your shin. Right arm up tall in space. Find the length through the back of that left leg. Hips are pulling back in space as you press into your left foot, and then reach up fully through your wingspan all the way from the earth to the sky. Have your spine be that crossbar in the pose. So as your hips are drawing back, crown of the head is extending and reaching forward. Nice breathing. Get down to the end of your breath. And on your inhale, leave triangle, come back up to warrior two, and then turn your left palm to the sky. Bring your right hand to your hip, to your thigh, or behind you, and reverse your warrior. Lifting up tall through that left arm. You can bend through the elbow and take your gaze up and back a bit. Checking your back right hip's not popping up in space. It's down on level with your front left hip. Feel your back right ear just melting away, or rather your back right shoulder melting away from your back right ear. And just feeling that lift all the way from your left hip crease, through your left side body, through your left arm. So with this last couple rounds of breath, if you've come out of your lunge, just come back into it, recommit. Nice, friends. Take that inhale, and on your exhale, you'll bring your left hand down to the top of your left thigh. Bring the right hand to join it, and then you're going to turn onto the ball of the right foot and set your legs up into this lunge position, and we're creating that flying lunge shape where your spine is out on a diagonal from your back right leg. Your arms at any point that you're ready are going to fly back in space. Extend back through the fingertips. Let your elbows gently tone in towards one another, and you can add that little bend into your elbows up and back. And again, like that locust pose, you've got the length coming all the way through the back of the neck, and your gaze is right out of the top of your eyes. Keep toning those thighs in, finding that strength through your legs. Press down strong into both of your legs. Find the support for that front left knee. Use your breath. Get down to the end of that exhale, and on your inhale, step up into your Utkatasana chair pose. Right foot meets your left. Drop those sit bones down and back, weights in your heels. Spread out into your feet and grip down. Find the strength for both of your knees. Fire your core up for your low back, and then let your shoulders gently tone in towards one another for your upper spine. And again, you can open your arms up as wide as you need to for that support. Let those biceps pull back to frame the ears, and then shoulder heads are down away from the ears on the back. Maybe try going a little bit lower, but use that breathing. You're doing great. Nice. Last round of breath. Take the weight to your left foot. Inhale, arms and right knee up in space. So one-legged mountain, playing with that one-legged balance. Feel the left foot spread out into the ground, big left toe gripping to the earth. Lifting that right knee up, thighs parallel to the ground, and then plugging that thigh bone back in towards your hips as you extend through your fingers. Focus your gaze on that object that's not moving. Okay, deep breath here. Then that Dakasana airplane on your exhale. So swimming your right leg back, swimming your arms back. Again, think about that locust pose we did on the ground. Elbows are lifting up a little bit in space. Shoulder blades are toning in, fingers are extending back. You're either pointing your right toes back or you're pressing back through your right heel with right toes pointing down. Slight lift up through the chest. One more inhale here. And on your exhale, low lunge, take the hands down, drop the right foot back behind you. We'll step this back into our plank. Breathe in here, and on your exhale, just lower halfway down, and then transfer the weight to the tops of your feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. And you're suspending just the weight on the tops of your feet and your hands in that up dog, opening through your chest, rolling those shoulders out. And from here, press back to down dog. Reach and extend your hips back up nice and tall in space. Create that A-frame shape. Relax the weight of your head. Let your heels gently pull down towards the earth behind you. Lengthen spine, lengthen the back of the legs. Biceps toned in like you're holding, clutching a beach ball between your arms and flat into the circle of your palm. Here for about 3 more rounds of breath. As you get down to the round of your breath that you're on, we'll lower down onto our knees and then just drop one of your hips or one of the side of your hips to the ground, swing your legs forward. And we'll do a couple poses that are going to support your core muscles, are going to dial in those core muscles. So the first one is going to be on our back with our legs straight up in space, and then grabbing your hamstrings so your gaze is forward and reaching and extending your arms right up in space. Now, if your neck needs support, no worries. Take one hand behind the base of your skull. Lift up through arms, lift up through legs, and feel that flexion in your core. As we're holding, check that you're not holding your breath. Use your breath. Right on. Stay with it. Now, the hands behind the base of your skull, elbows wide, and take those legs and start to lower them onto a diagonal. Rather than an arc coming into your low back, you want to feel your low back is pressed and rooted into the ground, those feet extended. Use that breath. Relax through the face. Stay engaged, but watch that you're not tensing up. We're finding that relaxation around this intensity. Awesome. Bring your knees in towards you, grab your hamstrings, and lift yourself up onto your sit bones. And then we're moving into boat pose Navasana. So in boat pose, we're just going to float the heels up off the ground. And rather than your spine curling in, start to find length through your spine. So you're lifting that spine back up and away. Let your shoulder blades gently tone in. And then you can release your hands away from your legs right here. Open your arms up. Knees can be bent, or you could lengthen your legs out. Relax through your face, and you got that breath. If you start to feel the shake, I've got my legs are kind of shaking, my core is shaking. Use your breath around it. Last 2 rounds of breath. Last round of breath. Get to the end of your breath. Nice work. Cross your ankles. Come forward. And then the last piece of core work we're going to go into is dolphin pose. So dolphin, you're going to be on the bellies of your forearms, and you're going to make the shape number 11 with your forearms. Elbows are going to be underneath your shoulders. And then you're doing a similar shape to down dog. And while you're pressing to the ground, you're going to be lifting your hips back and up, and then you're going to reach your sternum back up towards your thighs. There's a lot of shoulder strength that goes into this one as well. So we'll start out just bringing those elbows down to the ground, setting them up at shoulders distance from one another, spreading out into your palms. Once you've got that shape, number 11, tuck your toes, lift your hips up, and then walk your toes in towards your elbows. Reach the hips back up nice and tall. Find that length through your spine. Stay with your breath. Head is relaxed, looking back behind you. Weight to your left foot, right leg lifts up, three-legged dolphin. Nice breathing, friends. Press back through your right heel, like you can press it all the way up and touch something. If your elbows are opening out wide, bring them back in. Find that shape, number 11. Exhale, right foot down. Use your inhale, left leg comes up. A few rounds of breath right here, pressing to the ground, pressing back through your left heel again like it can touch back into something. Bring those elbows back in if they're out wide. One more inhale, lifts up. Exhale, release down. Bring your knees to the ground. Come up and then child's pose. Good work. So knees out wide. Tops of the feet to the ground, big toes together. Sit bones, release back towards your heels. And then just relax the forehead to the ground with the arms out in front of you. In child's pose, you're lengthening out your spine, letting those sit bones reach all the way back in space. Arms are out in front of you. If you want a little more activity with this pose, it could feel good just to walk your hands forward a little bit. Elbows might lift off the ground. You might be on your fingers. And then you're just pressing forward into the ground, pressing your sit bones closer back towards your heels. It might be nice to kind of weave moments of activity and also moments of just total relaxation, releasing the weight of the body. Yeah, nice breathing. A few more rounds of breath here. Nice, lift back up to a tabletop. And then bring your legs forward in space. We're going to start with the right foot forward and the left foot to the inside of your right thigh, kind of like tree pose. You can find the front edge of your sit bones by pulling the flesh away or walking them back. And then take the peace sign fingers of your right hand around your big right toe. You can bend your right knee a little bit as you need to. And inhale to reach your left arm up and back in space, so the full wingspan. Breathe in, and as you exhale, dive through your right side body and reach that left arm forward in space as you twist open to the left. So left shoulder stacked over the right. Now you could also start to change your grip here. You could have a strap wrapped around your right foot, both ends of the strap into your right hand, or you could be grabbing onto your foot, or you could be grabbing onto your ankle. Sometimes people will bring the right hand to the inside of the right leg along with the forearm. Some folks, you'll be grabbing the left foot and it will be reaching in, or the left hand rather, will be grabbing onto the right foot. That's awesome. If you're close to doing that, you could stick your right thumb up in space and your left hand could hook onto your right thumb. Feel that left leg pressing down and back, helping your spine to extend and reach forward. Last round of breath. Then on your inhale, arms wide and tall, breathe in. Exhale, bring the hands down into your heart center. We'll set up a one-legged seated forward fold over that right leg. So square your hips up to face towards the front of your mat. Right hand will come out from your right hip and just back a little bit. Press into it. Inhale, your left arm reaches tall. And on your exhale, hinge out from the hips and take your left hand to the outside of your right calf or to the outside of the right foot. Gaze is down as the crown of the head extends forward here. That left leg can be pressing down and back into the floor as well. And then you can always add a little more bend into your right knee or subtract as you feel it. For example, if your left hand was very close to grabbing your right foot, you might just add a little bit more bend into the knee, connect to the leg, and then work with that bind, that breath. Strap could also be around the right foot, both ends of the strap into your left hand. Beautiful breathing. Nice, get down to the end of the breath, and then use that inhale just to reach your arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, gather your hands down into your heart center. For double pigeon from here, you're going to take your right leg wide off the side of your mat, and then bring your left shin up so it's parallel to the ends of your mat, and then you want to center it to the sides of your mat. Grab the right leg and start to cradle the right leg across your chest using your hands or your elbows or your forearms. And then we'll notch up the indentation on the outside of your right ankle between ankle bone and heel over the ridge of that left knee. It's the inside ridge of that left knee, inside ridge of that left thigh right there. Once you've got that notch, stack your fire logs. This is also called fire log pose. Find the front edge of your sit bones, and when those fire logs, your shins are stacked, flex your toes back towards your shins. If you're working with a block, you could close up a gap between your right knee and left foot with a block or a blanket. Stay upright, that can feel fantastic, or start to bring your fingertips down and forward, walking your arms out in front of you. And as you fold your spine, the gaze goes down. That right tricep might give a little press down to the top of the right knee. Friends, while you're holding this pose, one thing I want you to check on is that you're not collapsing your right ankle here. We need the right ankle really strong. It's the fulcrum point that you are then folding that knee down from. So you can think about your heel is pressing out to the other side of the mat. Toes are flexing back in towards your shin. Ankle is nice and strong. All right, enjoy that breathing while you're here. This is a big stretch for that right hip. Just creating those inhales, creating those exhales. Nice and slow, start to lift out of this. And then you just take your legs out in front of you and just give a little roll out through your ankles or pump through your thighs. Just bringing some movement back to your legs. We're going to switch that stretch up now. So we'll start, or that sequence up rather. So start with extending your left leg forward, bring the right foot inside of your left thigh. Find the front edge of your sit bones, and then peace sign fingers of your left hand will hook up around the big left toe. Press your left heel down and forward, and then reach and extend your right arm up and back in space so your wingspan is open. On the next exhale, dive through your left side body, and then reach and extend that right arm overhead, but twisting to stack right shoulder over the left. You can drop left elbow to press into the top of your shin. Again, you could have a different grip around a strap or the foot or the shin or the floor. And then wherever your right arm is reaching, whether it's just hovering in space or whether it's hooking to the outside of the leg or you've got your left thumb up and it's grabbing onto the thumb, focus on that twist open here. So gaze is slightly coming up. Nice breathing. Get to the end of the exhale. Inhale, arms wide and tall, breathe in. Exhale, hands down to your heart center. Square your hips to the front of the mat, find the front edge of your sit bones, and then left hand comes out from your left hip and back a little bit. Inhale your right arm up, press the left heel down and forward. On the exhale, hinge forward and dive to grab the outside of the left calf or outside of the left foot. Let your right knee press down and back here. And again, you can always add more of a bend to your left knee or take it away as you need to. Gaze is down to the ground and the crown of the head is reaching forward as we take this one-legged seated forward fold for that left leg. Building up the length in the spine and of course exploring that length in the back of the left leg. And just noticing how your body felt at the beginning of the stretch, and then even just after a few rounds of that deep breathing, how our body starts to open up and we start to shift and open more into the pose. Nice. Get down to the end of the exhale. And with your inhale, reach your arms wide and tall. Breathe in. And as you exhale, take your hands down into your heart center. Okay, so for that double pigeon fire log, just swing your left leg a little over to the left. And then center your right shin to the sides of your mat and bring it parallel to the ends of your mat. Cradle your left leg in towards your body, starting to warm the hip up using your hands, elbows, or forearms. And then we're going to make that notch. So outside of that left ankle, you've got the indentation between ankle bone and heel. Just goes over the ridge of the inside of your knee, inside of your thigh on the right leg. Stack your fire logs. And then from the front edge of your sit bones, we can stay right here. Awesome place to be. Or you can start to do that fold, walking arms forward. Left tricep might give a little press to the top of your left knee. Double check we are not collapsed in that left ankle. So a flexion through both of your feet, and then you're pressing your left heel over to the right, and you're flexing your toes back towards your shin. Just allowing those waves of breath to wash over you here. Beautiful breathing. Take that last round of breath. As you start to rise up, we're going to take the rest of class on our back. So just stretch the legs out in front of you. And then release the weight all the way down onto your back. Once you're down to your back, you can bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around them, and give a little rock side to side. For bridge pose, just plant the feet to the ground at hip bone distance from one another. Knees are up in space. Reach your arms along your sides, and then step your heels in until your fingertips can brush against the heels. Plant your triceps to the ground, elbows bent at 90, hands reaching up in space. And with the head relaxed, push into your feet, triceps, and shoulders, and lift your hips high in space, making that big bridge with your back. You're trying to lift your hips up to the level of your knees. That's kind of the one thing you think about here. And you can also step your shoulder blades in a little closer to one another, making a shelf for your heart. Feel spread out into all corners of your feet. We've got those knees balanced up in space above the heels. And then just working those inhales, working those exhales, friends. You got it. Do that last inhale to lift up. And on your exhale, just release vertebrae by vertebrae to the ground. And then once you hit the ground, happy baby. So peace sign fingers to your big toes. And then bend the knees out wide. Relax the weight of your head and stack your ankles above your knees, bottoms of the feet point to the sky. Pull down on the frame and then just gently rock side to side. And you're trying to get the low back into the ground, your hips into the ground or just close to the ground. Stack your knees over to the left so you roll onto the outside edge of your left hip. Reach and extend your right arm to the right. Take your gaze out across the fingertips. Your left hand can give a gentle pull to the top and outside of that right knee. Let your right shoulder relax down towards the ground, and then you gaze just out over to the right, twisting from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head. Get down to the end of the exhale that you're on. And then nice and slow, we're just going to switch things out. So bring your knees up to center, and then stack your knees now over to the right, onto the outside edge of your right hip. Left arm reach and extends to the left, gazes out across those left fingertips. Right hand can give a gentle pull to the outside of that left knee. And letting your body open up into this shape, letting your body sink and relax into this shape. And again, when those exhales come in, especially inside of a deep twist like this, that's the moment that our body is letting go into it. Get all the way down to the end of the exhale that you're on. And then just bring the knees to your chest, wrap your arms around them, and give yourself a little rock out on your back. Friends, we're ready for our final resting pose, our corpse posture, Shavasana. So make yourself comfortable, and then just lie flat down to the ground. Let the weight of the feet just open up. Weight of your arms, just release at your sides. Close through the eyes. And let go of controlling your breath. Let your body take back over on the breath. We'll be in the stillness for a couple of minutes, and I'll bring us back out of it and bring an end to our class. So just enjoy the stillness. So nice and slow, just start to bring some life back to your body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. You can stretch and reach your arms all the way back overhead behind you, a full morning stretch, rolling out your ankles and rolling out your wrists. Deepen your breath. And roll the weight of your body onto your side, curling up into a fetal position. We'll meet up in a cross-legged position or whatever pose you'd like to end class with. If you're choosing a cross-legged position, just take a moment to find the front edge of your sit bones to root into. A final inhale to extend the arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, just bring your hands down into your chest, thumbs pressed back against your sternum. And then we get to end with this greeting. Friends, I salute you. Namaste. Right on. Thanks so much for joining me for another yoga class. As always, please hit like, subscribe, share the video. It helps out a ton. If you'd like to make a donation for taking the class, I've got my Venmo ID in the description. And if you're not in a place to make a donation, no worries. This is totally my gift to you. I have a new blog post that just went up. It is called Back to the Earth. And as you can see, I'm surrounded by the beauty of the earth. The blog post is just about, for me, getting out into nature is like a dolphin coming back up to air. But I hope you guys have a beautiful one, and I look forward to catching you next time. So take care, and much love.